Hey, afternoon everybody. Today's little video is on warranties, the different types of warranty, lifetime warranty service agreements, that sort of thing. And I just thought I'd tell you my experiences with different companies because I think it's really kind of helpful for consumers to know what we're buying and what we're not. I was in the construction industry for years. I've literally built hundreds of decks over the years. And I've done different work for service companies like a large builder where I used a lot of my power tools on a regular basis every day. So they saw the test of time, let's put it that way. So let's talk about a couple companies and a couple warranties that are worth mentioning. You've seen these. These are the rigid batteries. They have a lifetime service agreement. It's not a warranty, say, but it's basically, if you take it into the depot and if it's registered and they get it and they go, it doesn't work, okay, it's under warranty, we're going to replace them under warranty. What happens is Rigid sends you a brand new battery for life of the battery. As long as this thing keeps going, as long as Rigid's in business and if something was a problem with it, they're going to replace or repair. And it's usually repair first, okay? So my story with Rigid is actually good and bad. So a couple years ago, and now I have a lot of tools. A couple years ago, I noticed that a lot of my tools, the registrations weren't sorted out properly on their website. And I went to them and said, hey, what the heck's going on? And it took a lot of effort, a lot of communication with them. I had to pull all my tools out, get all the serial numbers. It was a nightmare to get sorted out. But I finally got it all sorted out. So Rigid said, yep. So they warranted a bunch of my batteries. Registered all the batteries as soon as I got them. Now the thing is, they go through, just like every company, they go through changes and sometimes things get lost or data gets screwed up, who knows, and you got to give them credit. At least they're willing to get it sorted out. So fast forward now, almost 20 years later, I'm not working in the trades anymore, and I take probably about 6 different tools into a place called Dieter Tool and Saw Service Limited. If you're in the Halifax area and you need a tool repaired or you need to buy some tools of some kind directly from a person that, like these guys that repair them, that know tools inside and out, please give these people a call. They were outstanding with me. They bent over backwards when they really didn't have to. I just like to give a shout out to them because they did really well helping me sort this thing out with Rigid. Now, so here's what happens with Rigid. A bunch of my tools go in. A lot of them are 17, 20 years old. Tool parts are not available for them. So I started receiving, like yesterday, I received my electric drill, impact drill. Hammer drill. Brand new in the box, replaced. Because they couldn't get the parts to service the drill. I've been told that generally almost all the tools I took into them are going to be replaced because they're that old. Now, one tool in particular was my impact gun for putting deck screws in for anything really, but I used it more for deck work. And basically the problem was when you go to screw it in, it would get really super hot, really fast, and then cack out. Now keep in mind, it got used a lot. I mean, if you saw a picture of the drill itself, you'd say, wow, looks like it was used for, a hockey puck. So the problem is that the serial number didn't match up with anything on my porthole. When you go into Rigid, you're registered with them. When I go in there, I can see all the tools I own and all the serial numbers. Well, that serial number was not there, and neither were any of my batteries. Again. So I start emailing Rigid saying, what's going on? And of course I get the standard reply, and finally I just got fed up. And of course Dieter Tool, the lady there, says, listen, you need to just call them first thing in the morning. This is the best time. Okay, so I call them first thing in the morning, and today I got the nicest lady you could ever have. She was a sweet person to talk to. She did some investigation, and we were able to re-register my 4 batteries. One was properly registered, and the other four were re-registered because they clearly came from their service depot to be replaced, and for some reason it just didn't get registered. Now, I know that, like I said, they had their system updated a couple of years ago, and maybe by doing that, somehow my serial numbers got disappeared. So they were all straightened out right away. What didn't get straightened out was the one impact driver. The serial number on the porthole doesn't exist. And when I gave her the serial number off of it, it was so old that she said, no, they all start with a C or a G or something like that. And I said, well, I'm telling you. So I had to go back to the depot. I didn't go, I called her. She sent me a photograph of my serial number. Thank you very much, Dieter. Tools. And once I got in contact with the guy, I got lucky, got the same lady again. We exchanged emails. I got her the email, and she spoke to a manager, and lo and behold, they stepped up to the plate and they warranted the tool. It's now registered, and now Dieter can actually submit it for warranty, whatever it needs to be repaired to get fixed or replaced. To me, this is a company. Now, a lot of people will say that Rigid is the bottom of the line tool. I quite frankly didn't find it that way. I really had three complaints about their tool. One, the reciprocating saw sucks the life out of the battery. So you better have 3 batteries ready, or get the big 288 amp batteries, like the bigger ones, Rigid batteries, to run that tool, because it will suck the life out of those little batteries. The other one was my circular saw. All the guys with DeWilt tools, they were cutting away for hours on their battery, and I was like zip, 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 and it was dead. Apparently, when I went to the service depot, they said there was a problem with the armature or something. So that's probably why I was having problems with it. And I think there was one other tool that I would have to say that was not great. But listen, the price of the tools was comparable to everybody else. And I had in my garage a DeWilt impact driver, which I tried it. They both drilled the same way. My DeWilt died. It's not under warranty in any shape or form. So it's a throwaway tool. People say, well, for the money, DeWilts were cheap. But I could buy a Rigid for the same money, and it had a lifetime service warranty agreement. That means when I buy that tool, I never have to buy another tool again. So why on earth wouldn't you buy a Rigid tool? I have a Rigid table saw. I have a Rigid everything. Everything I buy is Rigid. Now my table saw, for some reason, isn't registered on their program. And like my radio, I can understand why the radio is not registered to their lifetime warranty agreement. But my table saw is. I just have to get the serial number to them and get it sorted out. So as far as quality of tools, I like the Rigid products, and my impact driver, quite frankly, killed the Milwaukee in a test. It was one of the old Rigids, so I like it. And if the biggest problem I had with that Rigid, it was so powerful, it would kick off the screw sometime, and when it came down, I'd get it right through the sort of the cuticle of my nail, because I was holding the screw. I don't know how many times that happened, and I used to kind of put the screw in now and get my hand away and put it through. But sometimes you got to support it, and I put my weight into it. So I learned not to do that after a while. But as far as warranty, Rigid by far is the best warranty in the industry. I don't know why you would want to buy any other tool, because where are you going to get this kind of lifetime warranty in this day and age? Yes, you're going to have to keep your paperwork. Make sure you have it registered every time. That's the big secret to this. When you get your battery from Rigid, after they replaced it for warranty, you must go online and re-register the new battery so that you're covered under the lifetime warranty program. That is the biggest hitch to their warranty, and if you don't do it, they can deny warranty, and I understand why they don't do that. So, moving on. By the way, I give for quality 10, for warranty, and for customer service, I give you 100 Rigid. Thank you very much. Okay, so anybody know what this is? So I'm going to try and bring it up, see if the camera will pick it up. Wait, you see that? It says Otterbox. It's an Otterbox case and clip. Why are we talking about that? Well, because I have owned Otterbox all my life. When Blackberries were out, yes, I'm that old. When Blackberries were out, covered under a Otterbox case, and I've had them, and the case, once in a while, something will go wrong. Big one is this clip will break off, for holding it on your belt. So the story with this thing is, I bought this when I bought my phone. It's a Samsung 22, and I, unfortunately, because I'm an old guy, I dropped this in my truck one day, and 6 months went by. I couldn't find the darn thing, and it was wedged up in between the seat where you couldn't find it. I looked everywhere, couldn't find it. Well, I guess one day I moved the seat, it fell out, and I went, ooh, I found it. But by that time, I'd been popping this thing in my pocket. By the way, that's not a broken screen there. That's the cover. It has a crack in it, which I always buy these plastic covers, and they always do this sort of thing. Anyway, so because I was shoving this in my pocket all the time, the corner of this broke so that you could actually take it and go ee, 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 ee. So when I got this and snapped it on like this, it broke the piece off, because I think it was because it was just a little thicker. So I called Otterbox up and said, hey, like, am I warranted for this? Absolutely, sir, no problem. Tell me exactly what's wrong with it. So I explained it. So they sent me a brand new case for the phone, and they sent me a brand new clip, free of charge, because it's a complete warranty with Otterbox. And their people, when you're talking to them, are outstanding. This is not the first Otterbox case I've had. I've passed on my Otterbox to family members when I've gotten a new phone, and I can tell you that when I first started with my company, when we first had the flip phones, when Otterbox first came out, it was an Otterbox. My other experience with an Otterbox case was with my BlackBerry. It was a yellow case. I really loved it because I'm a sailor, you know. Everything's yellow with sailors, right? Because if you're fall in the water, the thought process is if you're all flashy yellow, you're like a lure in the water for the sharks, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so I had this really nice case with my BlackBerry, and I had not clipped it in properly to the holder, and when I got out of the truck, it fell out. I got to where I was going, I went, oh, where's my phone? Oh, I better go back and get it. So when I pulled in the driveway, it was snowing, but not enough that when my truck come in, the side of the tire caught the phone and sent it flying towards my deck, and it ended up on my deck, screen first. Toasted my phone. But the Otterbox case survived. So I give 10 thumbs up for the Otterbox people and their warranty program. If you're buying cheap cases for a $1,000 phone, you get what you deserve. I've always owned Otterbox, and I trust them with my phone, and I'm pretty much can toss this around, and it protects the phone. I'm not going to toss it today, though. The last thing, so it was Otterbox, that, and Amazon. Amazon. A lot of people ask me why I buy stuff off Amazon. So this weekend we had an open mic here in town at Port Midway, and of course we went to plug the guitars in. I bought 4 brand new cables off of Amazon. I plugged mine and went, poof. That was it. It wouldn't work no more. Wade plugged his in, and you could hear it going. Then we plugged another one in, and Wade was able to get it to work, but it sounded horrible. So those who are that are electronics, like myself, we realize that when you run a cable for 50 feet, the deterioration that takes place within that cable is substantial. So if you don't buy a high-quality cable, you get what you deserve. So when I first ordered these looked really good. When they came, I went, oh my God. I should have shipped them back right away, but I thought I'll give them a try and see what they're worth. So I contacted the seller, said they're junk, they won't work. Automatically, the seller sent me a refund, said ship them back. I shipped them back today. I no sooner shipped them, and I saw a refund on my credit card. That's why I buy through Amazon. There's a lot of things that I bought on Amazon, quite frankly, that have been good quality, well worth the money, and there's been... The other thing that you get is a lot of these people that sell you something, say they're shipping it, you get a tracking number, and a month later you still haven't got the product. I don't know what their deal is, but Amazon says they have a lot of these sellers that kind of turn up. They're a flash in the pan kind of thing. Amazon kind of protects you from that. I did buy a 1/4 inch to XLR. It's a converter, so I can plug an XLR cable right directly into a guitar. And the thought process was that if somebody showed up and didn't have an XLR plug-in, that I could use these things, right? Well, it turns out all the cables I bought have the wrong XLR plug at the end, so you can't actually do that. So some of the plugs I have worked, and when I went to pull one of those converter plugs out of the box today, it literally fell apart in my hand. It was brand spanking new. So you get what you pay for. That's the way I look at it. So yes, but Amazon has been outstanding. Whatever. Now that one little converter plug is about 6 months old, so it's way past its warranty period. It wasn't expensive. I think it was like 2 of them for $12. So I'm just going to throw it out and not worry about it. But other than that, Amazon, I bought a lot of stuff off them. My guitar cases, quite frankly, I don't know if anybody's seen them in any of the videos. I've got one that's waterproof. You could literally take it on an airplane and bounce it around like the luggage guys do, and the guitar won't get hurt. It's a hard shell case, and it's really strong. I really like those cases, and I bought 3 of them actually, and they were $200 a piece. But when you have something as expensive as a guitar, you don't want to trust it to a cardboard piece of crap when it's being shipped or when it's being even moved around in your vehicle. Last but not least is my favorite pick. Let's pick on my Ford truck. Yeah, you're all going, oh God, here it goes. I love my Ford truck, don't get me wrong. And you all know where I live. There's a place local here that repairs the trucks. And I've gone in and got a lot of warranty replacement stuff, like my wipers. They had to be replaced. They still don't work to this day properly. There was something wrong with my trailer assembly wiring and plug, and they replaced all that. And now since they've done that, every once in a while flashes up, says, your emergency brake's about to engage, get it serviced. And then I realized, I saw down the States that they're having that problem, and they actually are engaging. So I contacted Ford, and they said, oh, we don't have that yet. So I guess we have to wait for Canada to issue that, or until my truck locks itself up and smacks into something, and Ford will be replacing my truck. Yeah, not likely. So the biggest issue I have with my Ford is before my 60,000 kilometer warranty expiration time, which is very short time when you think about it, I said to them, I feel a wobble in the truck. What the hell's going on? They looked at it, well, we can't find nothing wrong with it. Okay. Anyway, after the 60,000, the wobble turns into quite a wobble on the front end, and I said, listen, there's still something wrong with the truck. They said, oh, okay, we'll look at it. And sure enough, they said, yeah, we found out what's wrong with it. Your rotors are warped. Now, for those of you that have had Fords, we all know that those rotors from the factory are absolute junk. I have a friend who has a Ford Escape, and when they went in for warranty servicing, when they came out, I looked at the rotors and I said, those rotors are junk. They should be replaced. And when I went back to the service manager, he said, oh yeah, they've been known to be a problem for years. Before her warranty expires, we'll replace the rotor. Of course, she never got back before the warranty expired, and now it's out of warranty, so they won't replace the rotors under warranty. And in my case, they said, because you're 60,000 plus, we're not replacing the rotors, but you can hire us to replace the rotors and pay for it. So let's see. I'm going to pay the Ford dealership to put Ford rotors that failed on my truck. I actually can get the rotors off of Amazon, a high-performance rotor, at a third the price of replacing one. I can get all 4 rotors at a third of the price than replacing all 4 of my rotors at the Ford dealership. So, and you get high performance brake pads with it. So why would I have a Ford dealership replace them? So, and people say I'm picking on the Fords, but quite honest with you, I worked for several companies that had Ford, GM, and Dodge. I don't think they had the Toyotas and stuff. We won't even talk about Toyota because, quite frankly, I had a bad experience with a Toyota dealership here trying to do a trade-in, and they were nothing. I felt like I was being scammed from the minute I walked in the place, and I'll never go in there again. Anyway, so of those 3 trucks, I can tell you that they all have issues. Dodges had the front end parts with the springs and stuff at 1 year. They had fuel pump issues. They have roller issues. Fords, they have the what we call the fatal timing tick, which is done by one of the, I can't remember what it is, but they have that where after a certain amount of time you start hearing tick it, tick it, tick it, tick it, tick it, and it's a problem. If you don't get them repaired, you will cook your engine. And it's known that those Fords do this. GM, they had CV joint problems, transmission problems, which they frankly haven't even resolved. And what they do is they change your oil and it lasts you a little bit longer, and then they can change the oil again, and then your warranty expires, and now you're left changing your oil more frequently than you really should have to. There are transmissions that have a problem, and even the Ford transmissions now are a collaboration between Chevy and GM. Which are the 10-speed transmissions. My truck in the morning, when I put it in reverse and I go to back up, it goes as if it slipped out of gear or something. And when I go to the Ford dealership, they go, oh yes, first thing in the morning when it's cold. Oh yeah, they all have that problem. But they're not offering a fix. They say they all have that problem. So we're supposed to live with something, $60,000 truck, and you want me to live with a transmission that's slipping in and out when you're backing up. It just amazes me. So what's the story here? I think the big thing that, and Ford is now saying that the dealerships are going to be eliminated. GM is saying that the truck prices, or the trucks, they've got an abundance of them. But everybody that's watching the industry is saying the same thing. Ford and GM are shutting down their plants, not producing. So they're going to create a shortage in the market so they can keep the prices high so they can make the kind of money they're making on their trucks. We all see it a mile away, guys. We all know this is what you're doing. It's like a lot of the companies when COVID, drywall went through the roof, when they were stockpiling it at their plants, ABS plumbing went through the roof, and electrical wiring experienced the same thing. We all hear the same story. Oh, it's because of the supply chain. No, it's because a lot of these companies got super greedy and they held back their shipping of their products so that the market would be shorted so they can increase the price because they can say it's not available. Like our grocery bills right now are going through the roof while that one person who owns that grocery chain writes himself a couple $1 billion check for being the boss of it all. Like, give me a break. There's got to be a limit to what we as consumers are going to pay. And quite frankly, I think as long as we keep paying $60,000 and $80,000 for a truck without whining about it, like we're doing here, they're still going to go up. I predict that both Ford and GM, if you look at what's happening in the States, they have a surplus that is scary surplus. When you look at all their dealerships, here out in Nova Scotia, when you go to the Ford dealership here in town, they got like 10 trucks. You go to the one the one I bought the truck from in Halifax, they got a little bit more inventory, like 20 or 30. But when you walk in there, their attitude is, that's the price. If you don't like it, don't buy our truck. Okay, I won't buy your truck. So now, instead of trading my truck in, I will run that truck till it's like 150, 200,000 kilometers before I go. And then I'll say, okay, maybe I'll buy a used truck instead of buying a new truck. Because I, quite frankly, am not going to pay $80,000 to $100,000 for a truck. When did it get to the point that a truck is worth more than a house? Just amazing. Anyway, that's my rant for today. Sorry I carried on so much about the truck issue. I just want to point out that there are actually good companies out there, and perhaps if Ford, GM, and Chrysler took from these other companies what warranty should be and how good their services are, I will stick with Otterbox. I will stick with Rigid. I think we all, this is the kind of companies we want to buy our stuff off of. And if they keep servicing us the way they do, they're going to be in business a long time. Thanks very much for watching today. Don't forget, oh, by the way, none of these companies have paid me any money to speak about this stuff whatsoever. Would be nice if Rigid sent me some new tools and let me test them and give you my opinion on them. I'd love that. But I don't know if that's actually ever going to happen. But for now, I'm just giving you my honest opinion on what and quite frankly, like I said, these Rigid tools were put through some pretty abusive wear and tear use. I mean, they were used pretty much every day, not like some tradespeople will just use their drill once in a while. I use my tools, every single one of them, every day. Even my oscillating cutter, quite frankly, it looks like brand new because I haven't used it very much because I didn't have one at the time and they were out of stock of the Rigid. So I bought a Ryobi, and I basically been beating up on that Ryobi, which quite frankly hasn't been a bad tool, but I wouldn't want to buy a lot of them because the Ryobi stapler, that's the other tool I was trying to think of, my Rigid nailer. I used that and it was terrible. I had all sorts of problems. It wouldn't fire the nails through, and it was an expensive tool to buy, to be quite honest with you. I took it back and returned it because it was such a terrible nailer to use. I understand now that they've upgraded the design and the new one's actually better, and a lot of people that have them like them. I bought a Ryobi finish nailer, and the finish nailer has lasted me. I have had some issues with it where it won't fire. If it's out in the cold, it refuses to fire at all. You have to bring it in the house, let it warm up, and then it will fire. But it was a fraction of the price, and I've used it and beat up on it. And I figure even if I got to replace it, I think it was $120, $150. Even if I have to replace it, it's still cheaper than buying an air nailer and a lot more convenient to use. But I think I might look at the Rigid one this time around because of the way they treat warranty and stuff. Why would I want to buy a piece of crap when I can... And not to say that Ryobi hasn't done well for me. I'm just saying that there's a difference in quality between the rigid and the Ryobi. There clearly is. Sorry, Ryobi, there just is when you buy rigid. And somebody once told me that Ryobi and rigid are owned by the same companies. I don't really know for sure, but hey, I'm just saying when I'm using the tools, when I was using them, the rigid ones passed my test. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Sorry for babble.